Hey, it's John with All Fingers Accounted For. We're going to do something a little bit different today than what we normally do. So I actually went online and ordered the scroll saw duster. Excuse me. Scroll saw duster from a place called Wonderland Woodcrafts. It's owned by a guy named Hector here. He is the only reason I even know about Wonderland Woodcrafts is Facebook. He runs a group, hopefully that comes on the camera, called Scroll Saw and Wood Projects. And anyways, this is a great place if you want to get some information about scroll sawing, some ideas. People post their pictures. You can see Hector on there. He gives some tips and runs and puts some he does some videos and stuff like that. So it's a great place to get some answers from people that have some wonderful experience, as well as just get some ideas. But anyways, what we're going to do today is I've already unboxed it and assembled it. It was way easier for me to show you once it's installed and talk about how I installed it than me going through the process of actually installing it. It's pretty self-explanatory. It does come with some instructions. It has some pictures and stuff like that. It's very easy. But anyways, what I'm going to do is show you my setup. So this is actually meant for the DeWalt 788, and I do not have a DeWalt. I have a Delta. Similar design. There are some minor differences between the two. I won't really get all into that in this video, but they're kind of the same setup. Wasn't sure if it was going to work. I did write Hector on Facebook before I purchased this and let him know it was not given to me for free. I didn't. It was. I just bought it because I was tired of the dust. Normally what happens is I have the blower and it blows the dust across my garage. It gets all over the floor. In fact, you can see there's plenty on the floor down there right now. But anyways, so let's kind of get into this. What is it? It's meant to, instead of blow the dust away, it's actually meant to suck the dust up into some either dust collection, shop vac, whatever you have. So anyways, let's kind of get into this a little bit. It comes with this tube. It's got really three tubes with a T on the back here, and then it kind of goes up. One goes on top, one goes underneath and connects, which I'll show you in a second. And then the other end goes to shop vac. In the instructions, you're supposed to install a little plastic clip that goes on this side. The DeWalt has a little bit different setup in the screw pattern, and they're kind of a little bit different. I tried to get the plastic one to come with mine, or that came with it, to go in here, and I could not. So what I ended up doing was on this side, right here. Sorry, the furnace is going right now, but on this side, I ended up taking this back screw out, putting the plastic clamp in, and then tightening it down. That's the only place I could get it with using the existing screws. The bolt on this side is a little too short. I couldn't get into the threads of the nut to make work with this side. So I did have to go on this side with it. I'm sure you could probably zip tie it. You really, honestly, you probably could just get away with zip tying it, hot gluing, or using some Velcro strips or something like that, whatever you have. Same with this. I end up zip tying it just to keep it from flopping around. The good news with this tube, you can actually twist it on the T so if it's kind of bent one way, been sitting in the box trying to curl up, you can actually bend it the other way to kind of get it to go kind of where you want it. Zip ties, I mean, they're just there loose. It's really just to keep it from flopping around or getting caught or falling down and pinching it or anything like that. Anyways, that's the first thing. Then you run it and you kind of end up using the Velcro strips to secure it to the air blower duster thing, whatever you want to call it, that comes with the scroll saw. I still angled it out of the way. I do end up every once in a while it was blowing pieces if you kind of angle it down, so you kind of have to tilt this out of the way. And you can use this to manipulate where it goes. As you can see, it's moving. On the bottom here, alright, had a camera malfunction there. Anyways, so on the bottom here you have this plastic piece here held up by these magnets that go around. It does a good job. It doesn't flop around. You need to make sure the blade is lined up with the keyhole on the top along with the bottom so it doesn't hit. But then it pulls the dust in between these. There's a little gap between the top and the bottom here, and it pulls the dust in through this hose. But anyways, let me put this on and tighten it up a little bit. It works really well. I can show you an example here how I have it set up. So I have this Stanley 1.5 horsepower 1 gallon wet dry vac that I end up getting a 3/8 inch this is adapter, put one in one side and one just kind of went with this adapter that I had with this shop vac. So I do know that Hector sells adapters for depending on what size you need to go to. I'm sure there's more efficient. Again, this is 1.5 horsepower, so I wasn't expecting much from it. I do have a little bit bigger one, but this is what I end up using to vacuum and clean off the scroll saw along with the floor. So that's what I was using. But anyways, let's get some sample or scrap pieces of wood here. I got some MDF. I have tape on the one side. I'll take it off so you can see completely bare what it would look like, because I want you to get the full effect. I have already tried this out before I shot this video just to make sure it was hooked up right. But anyways, here, let me take this painter's tape off, and there's no tape on this one too. And I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So we'll go with the Baltic birch here first, and then we'll use the MDF. I'll turn the vacuum on. It'll probably get kind of loud, so you won't hear me talking. But let me show you what we got here. As you can see, it does a pretty good job. I mean, you could see if I was following a line, I was kind of wiggling it back and forth so you could see. It does a pretty good job. You do get every once in a while little pieces, but again, I'm using 1.5 horsepower, which is and not even clean, so it's got a paper filter or one of those bag type filters in there too, so I'm pretty sure it's pretty dirty. Haven't really cleaned it, but it does a very good job. You can kind of see underneath, you know, there's not a big pile of dust. Not that I cut a lot, but I would say that it's probably between 80 and 90% effective at sucking up the dust. Every once in a while you do get a big chunk. I was trying to get one to see if I could show you get stuck. Most time they fall through. Sometimes they get caught on the edge in between. But it has never stopped me. I've done a whole piece, come back. Even if there is anything on the bottom, it's usually not that much. Like I said, I'm you know, my rating, I would give it like 4 out of 5 stars, if you want to call it like a star review. And like I said, 80 or 90% effective for my setup. I'm sure if you have a more powerful shop vac, you probably get a lot more out of it. And at some point I plan on replacing that, but I have it, so I'm going to use it. But anyways, hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of it. If you're interested in other things, he does have other things on there. He does have some patterns. He also has a thing called Lift and Click, which is meant for the DeWalt also. So on the Delta here, we have one kind of built in where you lift and it kind of holds it up, where you can do your blade changes and, you know, while you're doing inside cuts and stuff like that. And then you can just lift up and it goes back down. He makes this same kind of exact setup, which you don't have to reach all the way to the back, which is great. That goes on the side here too. I half tempted at one point to try it to see if it would work on the Delta. Not that it's hard to reach all the way back, but it's just sometimes inconvenient, depending on how big the piece is in front of you, to go across when you could just lift up front. I would definitely, like I said, go check them out. One more time, it's Wonderland Woodcrafts. If you have any questions, come on the Facebook page, the Scroll Saw and Wood Projects, and ask away. I appreciate it, and thank you for your time.